believe, we shall overcome.
He died? Charlie Kirk died. It's sad. For having an opinion about things. The guy went to colleges and was having opinions. Sick world we live in. That's a true animal. He need to be locked up in a cage. He don't have a frontal lobe.
No, I join hands so often with students and others behind jail bars singing it. We shall overcome. Sometimes
Charlie Kirk is dead. If you're not familiar with Charlie Kirk, he's a very prominent figure in conservative politics and has been for the last 10 years or so. First, I'm going to say, praying for his family. I'm praying for his wife, his children, everyone around him. The second thing I'm going to say, these are really politically radicalizing times, politically polarizing times. Watching someone like Charlie Kirk, a prominent figure in politics, conservative politics, left or right, doesn't matter, getting assassinated in the modern day is something that is very, very disturbing. If you think our society is going to return to this, we're going to get along and we can have a debate, the debate is over. The conversation is ended. And it's clear from an assassination like this that there is no more room for conversations anymore. The other side does not want to have a conversation with you. They want you dead. And this is something that they have written out a long time when they tried to kill the fucking president. I'm going to say this. We do not live in times of peace. We live in times of uncertainty. But the one thing we must be certain of, we will not allow people to wipe us away because of what we believe in, because of what we know to be true. We need to hold true to ourselves and not hold back in saying what we believe in, to go forward and continuously push against those who want to wipe us away just because we believe in something different or something greater beyond ourselves.
Times we've had tears in our eyes when we joined together to sing it, but we still decided to sing it. We shall overcome.
And I'm not saying Donald motherfucking Trump deserve anything he going through right now, but God's timing is always motherfucking right. Can I get an amen, some motherfucking body? There should be no motherfucking peace for the wicked. None.
No, before this victory is won, some will have to get thrown in jail some more, but we shall overcome. Don't worry about us. Before the victory is won, some of us will lose jobs, but we shall overcome.
So breaking fucking news, Charlie Kirk got shot in the fucking neck. That was the last bastion. I can't be a liberal no fucking more. You see the fucking comments? I hope the gun is okay. The same fucking people asking for moral decency. I cannot in good faith align myself with you guys anymore. I once had a headache. You'll be alright. Cause you don't agree with him politically? Okay. Whatever happens next, in retaliation, whoever did that shit, I hope they throw the whole fucking book at you. The whole fucking book at you. Why I did not agree with his views, when you put violence in the fucking middle of the equation, all this shit goes out the window. Everything that you stand for goes out the fucking window. Who's next? Candace Owens? Take that shit as a warning. Stop doing the fucking public panels, bro. Stop doing all that. Oh, what do you think about him? These people are fucking insane. Oh, well, both sides are... No, these people are fucking insane. Dude, things are gonna get very... Do not speak politics at all in public. Do not do that shit. These people are fucking unwell. Protecting fucking dickheads stabbing Ukrainian girls in a bus. Protecting fucking shooters just because they think they're the other gender. You people make me
Before the victory is won, even some will have to face physical death. But if physical death is the price that some must pay to free their children from a permanent psychological death, then nothing shall be more redemptive. We shall overcome.
That video that's on my Twitter now is absolutely just, I couldn't even believe what I was seeing. When I first saw that video, I thought it was AI. He's got a family, he's got a wife, he's got children.
Democrats say that Trump is starting a civil war, but they're the only ones that are making violent threats and having violent protests and causing all sorts of trouble. So who's really starting the civil war here?
Seeing people rejoice over Charlie Kirk getting shot just shows you that society lacks empathy. Like, how could you ever be happy somebody losing their life because you disagree with what they say? Tighten up.
Before the victory is won, some will be misunderstood and called bad names and dismissed as rabble-rousers and agitators, but we shall overcome.
So Charlie Kirk just died 7 minutes ago. He was confirmed dead. Didn't like the guy. I don't disrespect the dead, though. I thought the nigga honestly was going to survive. It was one shot. It was one shot right here. I thought the nigga was going to survive. I ain't going to lie. I hope that aside, prayers out to his family. I hope the shooter's not black. Y'all just killed the Hokage of the fucking I pray that the shooter's not black. We have been through enough.
We all against violence, we all against gun violence, but then you support the same violence that just killed somebody because he had a take that you didn't agree with. I never agreed with a nigga. I'm not happy to see another man die. Y'all are weird, bro.
And I'll tell you why. We shall overcome because the arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends toward justice.
But I'm starting to see that a lot of people on social media are literal monsters. Should we care when he didn't care? How I feel about people getting offed because of their social media opinions has nothing to do with how others feel about it and everything to do with how I feel about it. I don't think that you should get shot for having conservative views on social media. He wasn't a politician. He wasn't some corporate giant. He wasn't affecting your life at all. So I don't care if someone I hate gets assassinated in broad daylight and the video is shared everywhere. I think that that is wrong, me, independently of who the person is. Y'all will get on this fucking app and talk down on the women who cheered on Kevin Samuel's death, but don't think you're doing the same thing to Charlie Kirk, a man with a family. Like, y'all, that's cool shit to y'all? Do y'all really get that mad at people on social media? Are your lives really that miserable? I want you all to know. Unless someone has done something to me in real life, I have never wished death on anybody on social media. People have said wild things to me. People have inboxed me crazy shit. I never wish them to actually die. I understand that the internet is real life.
We shall overcome because Carlyle is right. No lie can live forever. We shall overcome because William Cullen Bryant is right. Truth crushed to earth will rise again. We shall overcome because James Russell Lowell is right. Truth forever on the scaffold, wrong forever on the throne. Yet that
what are we doing, you guys? I'm not saying what are we doing, but I'm talking about Charlie Kirk, the person who is trying to educate a generation of people, has been shot on live television. If you guys could see the stuff on X right now, at this point, the Democratic Party should be viewed as a terrorist organization. The stuff that we're seeing in this country is not normal. It is an awful video. There's no way he survived that. There's no way he survived that. The Democratic Party is a terrorist group. They are a terrorist organization.
That scaffold sways the future. Behind the dim unknown standeth God within the shadow, keeping watch above his own. We shall overcome because the Bible is right. You shall reap what you sow.
You guys fucked around and are about to find the fuck out. What the fuck do you mean you shot Charlie? Oh my god, bro. They marched on the Capitol just because Trump said so. What the fuck do you think they're about to do now that Charlie Kirk is dead? First of all, the man did not deserve to die over not believing in abortion or LGBT. I'm gonna say that right now. But second of all, you stupid motherfuckers made him a fucking martyr. I actually fucked with Charlie. But you see how we all did all of that in DC for George Floyd? It's about to get so much fucking worse. Lock your doors and good luck to everyone supporting and celebrating his fucking death. Not me. I'm safe. Not me.
We shall overcome. Deep in my heart, I do believe we shall overcome. And with this faith, we will go out and adjourn the councils of despair and bring new light into the dark chambers of pessimism.
Pew. That's what we do. That's the way. It's the only way.
Let's take this back to the beginning.
Okay, guys. So I would like to start a new movement called See MAGA, MAGA. because people like that respond to fear and terror and aggression, not logic and empathy and, I don't know, intelligence. It doesn't work for them. So fear works. So if we all get our guns and use our Second Amendment right and our common sense, at this point this administration is begging us to rise up and revolt. And you see somebody with a MAGA hat, pew pew. That's what we do. That's the way. It's the only way. Put them back in their basements, make them scared again.
You know, what drives somebody to become so extreme about half the country? Like, think about that for a second. And yes, she could have something mentally wrong with her. That is a possibility. But the bigger thing I want to focus on is the Democrats' messaging. Their messaging is very emotional. Rather than attacking issues, they attack people. Rather than saying, hey, your idea sucks, they tell their base that you're evil, you're racist, you're a bigot, you're a Nazi, you're like Hitler. The party and their messaging has become very extreme. And this is one of the reasons why they're bleeding voters. But a lot of their content is so extreme and emotionally manipulative that it gets people to think things like this. Ask yourself, why were we not seeing multiple assassination attempts on Kamala Harris? Why not? It's not because she's good and Trump's bad. It's because one side demonizes the other side so much to their own base that that base then thinks that these people quite literally will destroy the country, put people back in chains, and do horrible things to people. The Democrats emotionally manipulate people on a regular basis in order to get their vote and in order to keep their vote. Again, that's why we saw such extreme measures taken against Donald Trump, but not the other way around. And this woman's also saying another thing. She likes when people were scared to come out and say they were a conservative or to support Trump because they were worried about being canceled. They were worried about losing their job. She enjoyed, all the closet conservatives back in the day. She doesn't like conservatives having a voice. She doesn't like conservatives being out here saying the things they believe in and fighting for those things. She wants conservatives in the basement quiet. I mean, when you see multiple things like this, it's just a reminder of how the Democratic Party plays the game. And again, it's far less about policy and far more about demonizing your opponent in every possible aspect that you can. And that gaslighting and emotional manipulation then incentivizes people to do crazy things and believe absolutely crazy, insane things. It's a problem because you also can't have any productive conversation. And this is one of the reasons why you'll see so many Democrats focused on simply opposing Trump no matter what. Like I said before, they currently care more about opposing Trump than they do about doing anything productive for the country. Everything is fight Trump, fight Trump, fight Trump. But they're so tangled up in their own emotional storm they created that they can't even see reality.
And we will be able to rise from the fatigue of despair to the buoyancy of hope. And this will be a great America. We will be the participants in making it so.
I mean this from the bottom of my heart in all sincerity. You was never supposed to see something like this. In your entire life, you was never supposed to see something like this. That's not okay. That's not normal. That's not regular. You was never supposed to see something like that in your entire life. And there it is on social media. And we pretending like it's normal. When I was younger, for somebody to see something like that, they had to go to a deep store somewhere. A creepy store with a creepy guy selling them on DVD or VHS. They had to go on LimeWire, ShareBear. They had to go deep on the dark web to get a video like this. But today you open up your favorite social media app, and there it is. The same app you going on to talk to your friends, talk to your family, see cute babies and puppies. These type of videos is popping up. Crazy part about it is when I was younger, there used to be a triangle right there in the middle of the screen that you would press that would start the videos. You had to start the videos. These days, autoplay. You don't get to choose. Don't matter how fast you scroll through that timeline, the video's going to play on its own. And it's going to play loud, video to the tip top. So now you had to see it. You had to hear it. You're a couple senses off for putting trauma on your soul. I want you to think. They did a study talking about how dopamine affects the brain and how we just getting too much of it these days because of these social media apps. We got all this dopamine in the palm of my hand. It doesn't matter how much I swipe. I'm getting good stuff, bad stuff, happy stuff, sad stuff, back to back to back. It's not normal and it's not good for the brain. So what do you think this type of stuff does, huh? How many kids do you think seen this video today? How many parents do you think seen this video today? How many of his family members do you think seen this video today? People who didn't want to see this had to see this. Because it's on social media. No warning, no nothing. I think the craziest part about all of this is I saw another angle where a man was there and saw it happen. And his first reaction was to go in selfie mode. Yo, cuz just got popped. Follow me on TikTok and Instagram and YouTube. I live on the same planet as you, buddy. We from the same species, homie. We from the same universe. We got the same structure in our bones. We from the same species. I don't want nothing to do with that. Desensitized up here. Your mind ain't right. Something is wrong with you that you saw that and thought, how can I get up? How can I get right on this? Let me shout out my social media. We getting sick, homie. We getting sick. I'm trying to tell y'all, we need to take some time to think about this type of stuff. You was never supposed to see something like that in your entire life. And social media showed you. I love you. Have a nice day.
In his life, Charlie Kirk had a major influence. And I'm telling you right now, I'm looking at the culture right now, and I'm seeing that Charlie Kirk is probably going to have more influence even in his death than he did in his life. I've never seen so many people, even people that look like me, so furious and fed up about this rhetoric. And the reason why this is going to resonate so much is because the man didn't do anything wrong. He was just talking. He was just speaking his opinion, something that we are all entitled to, something that we all should be able to do. And the things that he said and the influence over the people that are about to start coming into power, I'm talking about young people. I'm talking about when he was going to these colleges and giving people a different opinion that they weren't getting anywhere else. They were paying $40,000, $50,000 to these colleges and weren't hearing these opinions, and now it's being articulated by this guy at a level they never seen before. And that's how he affected people in life. But even the people whose minds he didn't change with his words, in death, it seems like he's changing some of their mind. And that's what we all hope to live for. That's what we all hope to do in our lives. That's a life worth living.
And so as I leave you this evening, I say, walk together, children. Don't you get weary. There's a great camp meeting in the corner.
Together, we can build a future as bright and hopeful as this rainbow before us, a future filled with endless possibilities.
Through valleys deep where shadows lie, we lift our voices to the sky. With faith as strong as mountains high, we'll walk the road, we'll testify.
Hello, everybody. I want to thank y'all.
The chains of old may weigh us down.
We're gonna end the video there. I may play one of the songs that I created for this show as we do the outro to the show. So as you guys have come into the room, you see from the intro, we have stepped into some major stuff. It's gonna dig a little deeper. You know, there's someone in the chat that says we need to move on from this story because there's more important things to talk about. And you, Sir Wilbert Howard, I'm going to say this to you. And shout out to everybody that is subscribing. Thank you to everyone that has sent super chats thus far. This is a story that has not ended yet because it opens the door to conversations that are bigger than most people want to realize. It is gatekeeping at its finest. It is highlighting where the Black community is lacking. It is highlighting where American culture is lacking in empathy and understanding. So before we get into the present, we are going to see how the vestiges of the past are now overlapping and shaping what will be the future of America in a global society. Because please don't think that Charlie Kirk just had an influence in these contiguous United States of America. He also had a very strong influence across the pond. Now, this video is labeled, and moderators, please take over the chat. I will not be reading a chat unless it is super chatted while I'm delivering my content. But please be sure to double tap the screen and share it out. Subscribe if you would like to. Thank you kindly. Likes are free. So this video is titled Echoes of Conviction, the Shared Fire of King and Kirk. Two voices separated by decades, yet bound by a thread of fire. Dr. Martin Luther King and Charlie Kirk standing on opposite shores of history, yet somehow sharing the same current. You might question the audacity of linking them. How dare you? He's a racist and Dr. King was a saint. No, ladies and gentlemen, this is not for those of you that are not critical thinkers. This is not for the weak of heart. This is not for the hate mongers. This is not for the racists. This is not for people that refuse to see anything, only what people tell them to see, and they refuse to think for themselves. If you refuse to think for yourself, go on ahead and go on. A civil rights giant and a modern conservative firebrand. But look closer. Beneath their differences, a shared pulse beats. Conviction, courage, and relentless drive to call out all hypocrisy, especially when voices of colors are silenced in their cries for justice. But they'll tell you Charlie Kirk can't tell you nothing about no black people because he's a white man. Meanwhile, white people have advanced the agenda of people of color in this land since the beginning. But let's continue. Both men in their own eras stood as lightning rods. Dr. King, with his preacher's voice, shook a nation's soul in the 1960s, demanding equality where it was crushed underfoot. His words were a sword of love, cutting through the hate that celebrated Black suffering. Those who cheered lynchings or turned a blind eye to brutality. Charlie Kirk, in our fractured present, steps into the fray, challenging what he sees as cultural hypocrisy. When the Boondocks did that video on how Dr. King would look at the state of affairs for African Americans, nobody in the African American culture said a mumble of word. They all thought it was hilarious. They were like, yeah, you know what though? Yeah, Aaron Magruder, he right though. Dr. King would be like, oh my God, I'm going to Canada. But now when the white man, Charlie Kirk, says, there's something not clean in the buttermilk, it's a problem. So Charlie Kirk saw the cultural hypocrisy, including those who dismiss or silence people of color when they call out the glee, some taking their pain. Both are agitators, unafraid to disturb the comfort, to expose the double standards that fester in silence. But nah, they'll tell you that Charlie Kirk is a racist. In fact, in this video today, I am going to categorically debunk a lot of the racist talking points that these people in social media land and la delusional land have been telling you are proof that Charlie Kirk is a racist. Their oratory is their weapon. King's voice woven with scripture and hope could halt a nations in his track. His I have a dream speech wasn't just a speech. No, it was a vision, which is why I interwoven into all of the commentary about Charlie Kirk's assassination. And I made sure to highlight Black voices that do not stand in alignment with thinking this man was a racist, that do not stand in alignment with thinking that it's okay, that do not stand in alignment with he got what he deserved. Because every time you guys say that, you sound like the other side when they were talking about Philando Castile. You sound like the other side when they were talking about Sandra Bland. You sound like the other side when they were talking about Tamir Rice. You sound like the other side when they were talking about Trayvon Martin. And my God, today, I guess that's the goal, right? Equality for all. It was a vision, a demand for a world where character, not color. Yes, I have a dream that a man's character, their merits, and their virtue is what was celebrated. Huh? Not the color of a man's skin. That's all you hear when you're listening to that speech, if you're listening to it with a thinking mind. See, where the hypocrisy of those who celebrated blacks' deaths or ignored their cries were laid bare. Kirk, with his rapid-fire debates, slices through the noise, calling out what he sees as selective outrage. Those who claim virtue while stifling voices of color that dare to challenge the narrative. Both wield words that don't just speak, they ignite. Conviction drives them. King faced death threats, jail cells, and fire hoses. And as a matter of fact, he too was assassinated. He was thrown in jail. He got all the hoses and everything else. Yeah, he marched on. Yeah, he did. Exposing the hypocrisy of a society that preached freedom while delighting in the oppression of Black lives. He called out those who would silence the grieving. Not Dr. King called out people who would silence the grieving. Y'all trying to silence the people that are grieving Charlie Kirk. But Dr. King called out people who try to silence people's grieving. I need y'all to really take that in. Let's let that ruminate for a moment, shall we? Who would squash the voices naming their pain. Kirk, too, steps into hostile arenas, facing vitriol for challenging what he sees as a culture that ignores or suppresses people of color when their truths disrupt the status quo. Like, it's so crazy to me, this whole conversation about DEI and affirmative action. Like, y'all do realize that those laws were put into play during a time where civil rights was in the ballast, right? When people were fighting for rights for human beings to be treated equal. We have now been so far removed from that time in our history. You're talking about 65 years ago. There are people that were born in 1960 that qualify for Social Security benefits right now. Okay? God forbid, as a culture, as a society, we have outgrown those laws. Laws need to be changed and updated at all times. And sometimes laws have a tendency to turn in on themselves and be detrimental. That's what Charlie Kirk was speaking to. Far from racist, Kirk's philosophy is a clarion call for all to rise, rooted in encouragement and not division. At just 25, he founded the Black Youth Leadership Summit, an annual gathering that empowers young Black conservatives with tools for leadership and success. In 2019, he helped host the first such event at the White House, personally funding travel and accommodations for hundreds of attendees from across the country. You know what I heard a Black man say today? A Black man said that it's not Charlie Kirk's business to fund no Black youth to do better, that he was just looking for employees like slaves back in the plantation days. And I was like, well, good God damn. I don't see Black people hosting Black youth anything. I don't see Black people using their personal fund to bring the youth along. I don't see Black people building up the nation. But Charlie Kirk was. Best he could. But nah, he just a racist. That don't mean he ain't racist, y'all. That don't mean he ain't racist, y'all. He's mentored diverse voices, including Black gay activists, showing that his vision transcends labels. Clock it. Through Turning Point USA and his promotion of Blexit, the Blexit movement, alongside Candace Owens, Kirk champions conservative values as a path to self-reliance, education, and economic freedom for Black communities. Oh, no. See, Black people unite. Black people unite. Black power and Black pride. You know what we was learning in the 70s and stuff. See, Charlie Kirk telling you that Black fathers need to be in the home is a problem for the Black community. And that means that he's racist because why? Because why? Black kids today are not the Black kids of yesterday. And you know why? Because the parents of today are not the parents of yesterday. When I was growing up, I understood how special I was. I understood how important our culture was. I understood inherent values, but I also was raised in a conservative home. If I'm being completely honest with you guys, I was raised in a house that if I called myself trying to be going out with my friends on Saturday or Friday, it didn't matter what time I thought I was going to try to creep in the house and violate curfew or nothing, because at 6:30 in the morning, we was up getting ready for church. So I'm a Black woman that has a husband and children, not a baby mama. So I'm a Black woman that went to school and got an education before I gave birth and had progeny. Yes, I am very much in alignment with Charlie Kirk's views. And this is not in alignment with him just because he got assassinated. It's because this has been my life. And unfortunately, there's so many Black people that have been led down the path of degradation that Black people with conservative views is astonishing. It can't be real. You must be grifting. You have to be a coon. No, I just was raised well. So anyway, Kirk champions conservative values as the path to self-reliance and encouraging personal responsibility and excellence for everyone. And if you go to Black spaces, all you hear these Black men speaking about is accountability. All you hear Black women speaking about is accountability. So what's the issue with what Charlie Kirk said? Oh, because his skin. Just look at him like a light-skinned Black person. Oh, no, wait a minute, because Black people don't like light-skinned Black people either. And they don't like dark-skinned Black people either. Black people just hate themselves. Let's be for real. Black people have spent the better part of a century building their narratives based off the Willie Lynch letters, which is a complete work of fiction, even after knowing it was a complete work of fiction. So there's a lot of love that needs to be poured into the community. But shh, don't tell nobody. That might sound like common sense. And he wanted that excellence for everyone, regardless of their race. Excuse me, Bishop King. Well, hold up, bitch. Boop. And you're going. Leave. So anyway, like how I was saying, and thank you for all those that are subscribing and liking the screen. Appreciate you. If you don't like what I'm talking about, then leave. A lot of content creators allow trolls and a whole bunch of nonsense. I'm giving my content, so I'm not paying attention to the chat like that. But if I catch you out of my peripheral, you're going. You can say whatever you need to say in this chat, but be respectful. If you're going to be disrespectful, moderators, any disrespect, get them out the door. You're not dressed in blue for nothing. Thank you kindly. Now, much like King's universal dream of moral and social upliftment, both men at their core are fueled by a belief that their cause transcends fear. My God, today you cannot be fearless in America. Don't be fearless. You gotta be afraid. You gotta be afraid because you gotta survive. Oh no, not I. I will survive. What do you mean? People sound stupid. They built movements, haven't they? Dr. King's Southern Christian Leadership Conference gave voice to the voiceless, organizing marches that exposed the cruelty of those who celebrated or dismissed Black suffering. Kirk's Turning Point USA rallies young conservatives, amplifying voices, including those of colors, including those of color, including those of color, who call out the hypocrisy of a culture that claims justice while silencing dissent. And the fact that y'all want to call him a racist when Blexit founders are who? Brandon Tatum and Candace Owens. Literally two of the blackest people that you know. You don't like them though. Y'all don't consider them black though, because they're not running around here kicking that high grade, low test hood stuff, right? Because they're actually talking about values that matter and can actually improve the economic standing, the financial strength of the black community. Yeah, y'all want black people to stay on welfare. This is why the big bad bill caused y'all so much angst. Y'all want black people to stay on Medicaid and Medicare and social programming and Section 8, because if we strip all that shit away, the people have to get up and get a job and work and maybe be mindful of the kids that they're creating. Maybe don't be so lackadaisical with opening your legs to everybody, because if you don't have health care covered by the government, you don't have to pay that copay. You're going to have to pay for your medication. Oh, no, it's very easy to be irresponsible when you don't have to pay for anything. And that's just not to black people. That's to white people. That's to Asian people. That's to Spanish people. That is to anybody that heavily relies on social programs in order to survive. Fuck all of that. When you're paying for life yourself, you become real frugal. You become real frugal. Anyway, he amplifies the voices, including those of color, who call out the hypocrisy of a culture that claims justice while silencing dissent. Both understood that change comes from a chorus, from communities united against those who would squash their cries. And neither one of these men is without flaws. King was criticized even by allies for pushing too hard, too fast. His nonviolence was called naive. His exposure of hypocrisy, too radical. Kirk, too, is a lightning rod. His rhetoric brand divisive by those who disagree with his methods or method, yet both embraced the storm, knowing that to call out the hypocrisies of those who delight in suffering, especially when it's people of color crying out, is to invite backlash. And still, they press on. And I want y'all to remember that during Dr. King's reign, they did not like that man. They ain't like Dr. King until Dr. King lost his life in the hotel. And y'all can check out my page. I think I'm a pin it to people, for people that subscribe who come back to the page, so you can see me and my husband going to visit, in Memphis. See the hotel where Dr. King was assassinated, a little trip, a little history, just so you know, it's real over here. So I don't know what other people be doing, but it's not my business. And here's the heart of it. Both fight the silencing of truth. King's vision demanded justice, exposing those who celebrated or ignored the deaths of black men and black women while claiming moral superiority. Kirk, in his own way, challenges a culture he sees as hypocritical, one that dismisses people of color when their voices disrupt convenient narratives. Different battles, yes, but both rooted in a love for what they believe America can be, a place where truth, no matter how uncomfortable, is heard. But what binds them? Not their politics or their time. It's their defiance. Their refusal to let hypocrisy stand unchallenged. The courage to amplify voices, especially those of colors, that others try to squash. Dr. King and Charlie Kirk remind us that to call out the celebration of suffering, to name the pain of others, takes more than a voice. It takes a soul on fire. Now, let me look at some of these super chats. And again, if you don't like it, who cares? Thank you, everybody, to all the super chats that have been shared. Now, we're going to start looking at some of the content. Let me move this over here so y'all can't see that. Okay, so let's listen to what this one black pastor had to say about Charlie Kirk, because I was gobsmacked. We're not listening to too much, just a little bit.
Charlie Kirk did not deserve to be assassinated, but I'm overwhelmed seeing the flags of the United States of America at half staff, calling this nation to honor and venerate a man who was an unapologetic racist and spent all of his life sowing seeds of division and hate into this land. And hearing people with selective rage who were mad about Charlie Kirk but didn't give a damn about Melissa Hortman and her husband when they were shot down in their home, tell me I ought to have compassion for the death of a man who had no respect for my own life. I am sorry, but there's nowhere in Bible where we are taught to honor evil. And how you die does not redeem how you lived. You do not become a hero in your death when you are a weapon of the enemy in your life.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is the beginning of purely insanity. So he was a weapon of evil. Evil. He did it. So one of the things that I have heard incessantly over the past few days is that, oh, well, Charlie said he wouldn't trust a black pilot. He wouldn't trust a black pilot. That means he's a racist. What I find very interesting is all the people that are touting that bit of nonsense have not gone back to look at the transcripts of that conversation, have not gone back to look at the still viewable video that's up. So what we're going to do today, ladies and gentlemen, is we're going to clarify the DEI in the cockpit scenario. Now, before I bring this clip up, understand this conversation had on Thought Crime by Charlie Kirk and his cast of cronies was based off of a New York Times article. So let's listen, and then you be the judge. You be the judge. You tell me if it's racist or not.
This United story and the DEI story hits so hard because we've all been in the back of a plane when the turbulence hits, or when you're flying through a storm and you're like, I'm so glad I saw the guy with the right stuff and the square jaw get into the cockpit before we took off, and I feel better now.
No, I mean, like, you want to go thought crime? Like, I'm sorry, if I see a black pilot, I'm gonna be like, boy, I hope he's qualified.
Well, that's the you wouldn't have done that. You wouldn't have. You wouldn't have done that before.
That's not an immediate.
No, you wouldn't have done that before.
That's not who I am. That's not what I believe.
It is the reality the left has created.
I want to be as blunt as possible because now I'm connecting two dots. Wait a second. The CEO said that he's forcing that a white qualified guy is not going to get the job. So I see this guy. He might be a nice person. I say, boy, I hope he's not a Harvard-style affirmative action student that has points for, and he landed half of his flight simulator, trials.
That's the thing. It's
such a good point.
And by the way,
so fair.
It creates like unhealthy thinking patterns. I don't want to think that way, and no one should, right? I mean, so then I kind of sit down. And I'm like, boy, I hope nobody's. And by the way, then you couple it with the FAA, air traffic control. They got a bunch of morons and affirmative action people. Yeah, it's play cut 112. What is? Can you give me some context of what
this is a so when you land, there's a dialogue that goes on between the pilot and air traffic control. So you've got this pilot.
Is this real?
This is real, apparently, and he's having a debate. What's going around? Somebody probably leaked it to James O'Keefe, but like he's having a debate with air traffic control, and she's trying to tell him how she thinks she should.
Now, strap in, because what Charlie said was, shit. When you're in the plane, you want to be sure that someone wasn't just allowed to be there just because they were just allowed to be there. I think that that's pretty normal thinking. That's pretty normal ideology. And I put the words so that not only can you see and hear, you can read the words for yourself. Now, everybody strap in, because this is a real conversation from air traffic control that you're about to listen to. The New York Times article that they're going to read is a real New York Times article with empirical statistical information and data from the Aviation Federation. But he's a racist, I guess. Let's listen.
He should land, and he's saying, "Woman, I've been doing this for 15 years. I think I know what I'm doing." And she goes, "I just Googled this."
Do you remember when I said this a couple weeks ago? I said they're hiring a bunch of blacks for no reason at air traffic control
this was started in the Obama years. This is actually a story.
I'm saying though, this has been going on, and I've been getting whistleblowers from the FAA for years, and people say you're a racist, you're this. Play cut 112.
For a short approach, if you're going to do a power off 180, that's my point.
Well, okay, I will remember that from now on, no problem.
Yeah, when you ask for a short approach, I expect you to turn your base to beam the numbers.
All right, this one will be a full stop for 65 Charlie, and maybe we need to talk about that some more because you're the first controller in 15 years that's ever said that.
Well, I'm just, if you ask for a short approach is when you turn your base to beam the numbers. If I know you're a student asking for a short approach, I know you're out there practicing and you probably will extend. But if you're doing something other than a short approach, don't ask for a short approach.
Well, I will definitely look up the definition of short approach because I've never seen where it says you turn base of beam the numbers because I don't see how you could possibly do that.
Well, I Googled it, actually. I Googled short approach, and it says turn your base to beam or before the numbers, and you will land probably.
Is this real?
Can
we? It sounds real.
No, I want to. Can we make? Can I? Where did this come from? Can we get the chirp? I need the chirp. Where's my chirp? Come on, guys. We got to be quicker on the chirp. Where did this come? Can you find this where this came from, Blake?
I'll look into it.
I want to make sure this is 100% right. By the way, not. But the fact.
Now, in all actuality, she Googled it, right? That's what she said. She said that she Googled it. Oh, why y'all didn't tell me that I'm so loud on this microphone? Jesus Christ. But let's look at what it says at Google. Can I zoom this in? I think I can. I also did put it in the chat. A short approach is a flight maneuver to reduce the time and distance to land, typically involving an earlier turn onto the base leg and potentially a steeper descent. I don't know what she looked, but what she was saying is not here. All right. So if you have a steeper descent angle, you have to power off and do a 180-degree maneuver or a forward slip. But this man was not a student, and she was talking to him as if he was a student. What we doing? So is it wrong to say that you don't want people in air traffic control that don't know what they're talking about? I don't know about you if you've ever been on a flight, but I've been on a flight where there's turbulence. And shit, there's no time to be thinking about, is somebody doing something the right way or the wrong way? Is we finna die? Because we finna die. We finna die. Excuse me? You shouldn't be Googling at work. Exactly, Coffee Crypto. Exactly. But anyway, let's continue.
I never heard this before. I didn't know that was coming. God, no.
We're all dead. We're all This dead. Is a pilot who's 35,000 feet in the air trying to land a plane full of passengers communicating with some moron who is no better than, like, you know, just customer service.
To be honest, though, she sounded somewhat
It's a real person.
knowledgeable.
The woman is Brenda Mooney, and she's apparently a air traffic controller at the small airport of Denton, Texas.
So this was a real dialogue.
Apparently, at least they've fingered a real person, and there's a petition with 1,700 signatures to have her removed.
Well, look, my money's on the pilot, okay? I'm going to be honest. I don't know the technical stuff of what they're talking about at all. I have plenty of pilots that I can ask, but I can say this. You know, a lot of people email the show. I have had pilots and air traffic control say, Charlie, you have no idea what's happening in air travel. The woke mind virus has taken over. People are going to die. Planes are going to fall out of the air.
Even the New York Times has covered this. They've covered how there's this huge increase in near misses.
Yeah.
Well, because at some point the New York Times wants to go to the Bahamas.
Yeah.
And even they are like, I don't know how I'm going to be exempt from this one.
Part of it, though, is that there's just simply more air travel, right? And so there used to be a rule in aviation, and I'm out of my depth here, but this was explained to me, that you used to have to fly 2,000 feet apart, like on top of each other, right? So you had to have 2,000 feet of clearance, plane over plane, if you were going to come within a certain proximity to one another. At some point, that was deemed to be too much trouble for the aviation industry, and so they lowered the threshold to 1,000 feet of clearance. Which just means the planes are flying closer together mid-air, especially as you approach busy, airports and things like that, cities. Because remember, it's not just commercial air travel. We've got Cessnas, you got private jets, you got, hobby flyers. So it's a complicated. I just want to say it's a complicated field, and there's a lot going on and a lot of variables. But
Wall Street Journal, FedEx, Southwest planes come within 100 feet of each other during close call. I mean, this is happening all the time.
Yeah. Remember, it's a complicated field, but it is one
needs
where
to
we're
be done
also
right.
endlessly
But hold
messing
on.
with it.
It's not that complicated because we actually came to a place of agreed upon standards and safety, and now we're deciding to destroy that. And to Andrew's point, my working hypothesis, I think is rather unique to us and me, is that the politics of taking is way more powerful than the politics of even giving. You're taking someone's abortion rights away, you're taking their guns away, you're taking their country away, you're taking kids away. It is immediate, it's personal. You imagine your life without that thing, taking of gas stoves, the taking of your car. And the side that is doing the taking tends to not be as popular. And that's why abortion tends to be not a winning issue for us currently, is it feels as if we're going in and interfering and taking something away from people. Now, putting that aside, it doesn't, I can't imagine how the Democrats will spin this one. And by the way, House Republicans, you want to get a PR win? Drag the United Airlines CEO.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, just the same way that
Put Elise Stefanik,
did with Harvard. Bring this guy up.
I forgot about how bad it was with the FAA's,
it's bad.
gutting the standards. So this was covered with Tucker Carlson back when I was there in
can take
2018.
the screen if you guys want.
And so part of this was they took a lot of the skill-based stuff and they replaced it with a biographical questionnaire. Do you have the right traits to be a pilot? They love to, anytime you're running into affirmative action crap, they do this biographical questionnaire stuff. That's how they always get away with hiring criminals and stuff. So starting in 2014, the FAA added a biographical questionnaire to the application process for being an air traffic controller. Applicants with a lower aptitude in science got preference over applicants who had scored excellent in science, and applicants who had been unemployed for the previous 3 years got more points on the quiz than licensed pilot got. They actively were looking for unqualified people to hire them. And they do this. They do this a lot.
Joy Reid's broken into the thought crime lab.
And it's unreal. And a story I linked this with in my head just now is, did you hear that?
And I mean, that's some real shit. Like, you don't have to agree with it. You don't have to like it. If you choose to think it's racist, then you can choose to think it's racist. But let's also look at a collegiate study. I mean, because in order to quantify if what is being said is true or not, right, we kind of have to look a little bit, just a little bit, just a smidgen. So this is the Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University National Training Aircraft Symposium, right? This is the diversification of the U.S. airline pilot career field, perception of collegiate flight students. let's go down to page 4, shall we? Page 4 is interesting. Damn. Diversification in the flight deck. Perceptions of collegiate flight students. U.S. airlines have vowed to make diversity, equality, and inclusion a top priority within their flight decks, according to the Bureau of Labor and Statistics 2021. Remind you, this study came out, or this, this questionnaire came out in 2022. It was published in 2023. 94% of professional pilots are white and 93% are male. Moreover, only 7% of professional pilots are women and 6% are people of color, Black, Hispanic, Latino, and Asian. And only about 1% are women of color. Women and people of color will be the focus of the airlines, keeping these demographics front and center when it comes to opening the door of opportunity for professional pilot careers in the U.S. Well, who said that these women want to become pilots? Who even said that people of color want to become pilots? But United States Airlines have decided to target to this demographic. Given the ongoing pilot shortage, one of the ways that an U.S. airline can maintain a strong pipeline of pilots is to operate their own flight schools. In March of 2021, United Airlines announced a recruitment drive to hire more women and people of color as commercial pilots. The plan was to train 5,000 new pilots at its own flight school by 2030, and that at least 50% of the recruited flight students will be women and people of color. That's interesting. But let's go deep down into the flight deck, because, they did speak to demographics and traits and points, and we want to talk about flight hours and qualifications. So this is the demographics of the participants. Approximately how many total flight hours have you logged during flight training? 51% of participants had completed 100 to 299 total flight hours. But people were running around here talking about they said 10,000 flight hours, 100,000 flight hours, whatever they say. But these people don't got it. The majority of people have less than 299 total flight hours. And all of them have less than 1,000. Only 12% of people got 400 and over hours. My God, today. But by 2030, these people will be flying your planes. What percentage of your flight costs are supported by financial aid, student loans, and/or scholarships? 51% of participants have 0 to 24% of flight costs supported by aids, loans, or scholarships. 30% of participants have 75% to 100% of flight costs supported by aids, loans, or scholarships. The same amount of people that they are recruiting in, people that are very much eligible for financial aid. So is it about diversifying the airwaves and including more people into being a pilot? Or is it about funneling that student loan money, that student aid money into a corporate business and putting the American public in danger? Maybe, because remember, they are also talking about building their own schools. Who is going to make those schools accredited? I will wait. Which gender identity do most identify? 74% of participants identified as male. They only had one transgender female. They only had one non-conforming. They had 2 identity not listed and 6 preferred not to answer. How do you describe yourself? 71% of the participants identified as white or Caucasian. So even when recruiting, even when going out intentionally to seek out women and people of color, they're getting mostly males and they're getting mostly white guys. So is there a need for a DIE program if the interest is not there? Maybe just hire people based off their merit. Maybe white pilots aren't white pilots because it's just an industry for white men. Maybe that's just what they're interested in after watching movies like Top Gun. Everybody wants to be Tom Cruise in Top Gun. Women and people of color are underrepresented in the U.S. airline pilot career field. 55% agreed, 24% was neutral, 21% disagreed strongly disagreed. While diversity is improving in many other career fields, U.S. airline flight decks are lagging behind, largely due to the high cost of flight training, which puts women and people of color at a disadvantage. 35% agreed, 17% were neutral, and 48% strongly disagreed. Well, what's happening? Maybe y'all need to lower the prices of flight school. Drop it down like what's that cruise ship? Carnival. Drop it down like Carnival. U.S. airlines should diversify their pilot ranks and create new opportunities for women and people of color. 46% said yes, but 25% disagreed and 29% was neutral. So the prevailing majority didn't really care either way. And honestly, even when the cost of flights, the prevailing majority, they said it's too high. And women of color, that was strongly agreed that needs to improve. So we'll keep it real. At least 50% of flight students recruited by the U.S. airline-owned flight school should be women and people of color. Most people disagreed with that. So what are we talking about? And I will put this link in the description bar so you guys can go ahead and watch it if you catch the replay or whatever else. But at the end of the day, like, it's just a whole bunch of nonsense. Now, we're going to go to one of these, black activists that are speaking trash on Charlie Kirk yet again. And we're going to listen to very few minutes of this because I cannot stomach this rhetoric. But let's tune in and listen. Hold on a second. Let me make sure that this is in here. It needs to be in here. Oh. All right, let's go.
Y'all knew this. Did y'all know that he hosted a Black Leadership Summit every year? Did y'all know that? There was a Black Leadership Summit every year, and he'd invite a bunch of Black conservatives together, and they would get together and, I guess do what Black conservatives do. I've never been to anything like that, but and there's nothing wrong if people go to these things. It's totally up to them. And there were all these really interesting pictures of him with lots of Black people in those pictures. And so according to this Black man that I was listening to, he said, see, this proves Charlie Kirk can't be a racist because he showed a text correspondence where they went back and forth, and Charlie Kirk said, "Are you coming to the BLS?" And the guy said, "I can't afford it." And Charlie Kirk said, "Don't worry, we have scholarships. We'll pay for you to come." And so he says, if this man was a racist, he wouldn't have paid for me to come to the Black Leadership Summit, right? Which is interesting, right? That's an interesting conversation, interesting debate. So here's where I'm going to talk about this, and I hope you can give me a quick confirmation that if I accidentally say something that is offensive or something that we can just still love each other. I just want to make sure we do, because I know politics is so divisive and so crazy in the Black community, and really in all communities. I mean, America's political divisions are going to destroy it. So let me know. Give me a quick yes if it's okay to just have this quick conversation, because it does relate to economics, and I want to just make sure we're clear that look, this I ain't trying to like disrupt any political beliefs you have. Some of y'all feel really strongly about this one way or the other. Some of y'all straight up MAGA. Some of y'all are super liberal, and I respect all of that. And if you know anything about the Black First B1 philosophy, B1 means that you're Black first. And so if you're conservative, you're Black first. If you are liberal, you're Black first. If you're gay, you're Black first. If you're straight, you're Black first. If you're male, you're Black first. If you're female, you're Black first. And that means that we want to be Black before we start becoming all these other things.
Here's my thing with the B1 ideology. No one ever has to say that they're Black first, because at the end of the day, the skin that you're in says it for you. And I find it very intriguing that black people are always like, oh my God, but we're black, but I'm black, but I'm black, but I'm black, but I'm black. I don't want nobody judging me off the color of my skin because I'm black. Because the stereotypes that are out there about black people currently are abhorrent. We ain't talking about, excuse me, the 40s, the 50s, the 60s, where black people were educated and educators, where black people had culture. We're not even talking about the 70s and the 80s when black people were part of like Alvin Ailey dance school, where black people were being models, where black people were infusing and imbibing the culture with positivity. No, we talking about black women wearing their nails entirely too long because I'm sorry, I love my nails grow. I know some people have a problem with that. You know what I'm saying? Start putting your nails in garlic. That helps. Drink a lot of water. That helps. Vitamin E. That helps you grow your natural nails. But nails all the way out to here, though. I'm just saying real quick. How was you cooking food and how was you wiping your behind? Right? Because when your nails are all the way out to here, first of all, the undersides of your nails are a bedpan for bacteria, right? Most people don't appropriately wash their hands. They're not 2 times under running water with soap, singing happy birthday to themselves. Most people don't have a nail scrub brush. They're not scrubbing underneath their nails. In fact, you can't even have nails in certain industries because the amount of bacteria and nastiness that hides underneath your nails, i.e. food service, i.e. healthcare. You can't have nails, right? But every day I see these women of all nationalities, running around here with these super long, clackety, ratchety nails. I don't understand it. It ain't my monkeys and it ain't my circus. Also, most black people have children outside of wedlock. The single mother rate in black communities is like 74%. I am an anomaly. Do you know what it is when you go to the doctor's office with your child and they ask you, what's your last name? Because they don't believe that your last name is the same as your child. I seen a black man say to a black woman today that she should get rid of her married last name because she divorced her husband. And I'm like, in my head, that's a black mother raising black children, and her black children have that same last name. She's allowed to have it. But this is the toxicity that exists in the black culture. But you got black people running around here talking about oh no man, because he's a racist, yo. I don't care. And just because I'm indifferent doesn't mean that's bad. No, it's bad when you're indifferent because you want to sit there and castigate somebody as a racist. It's bad because this man lost his life in front of his children. And it's crazy when the black community will be out here printing t-shirts, having whole, you know what I'm saying, candlelit vigils, burning down cities because a criminal has passed away. But a man that was out here pushing the best narratives for the actual overall true empowerment of black people is viewed as a racist, and it's by black people. Why? Because black people are crabs in a barrel, and black people don't want to see other black people succeed. Let's continue.
Because what happens is, economically speaking, tribalism is a wonderful tool of a capitalist colonizer to divide and conquer. That the more divided you are, the easier it is to control you. So effectively, I don't want you to be divided. I want you to find the things you have in common. I don't want you to find something to argue about. I want you to find something to hug each other about. I don't want you talking about why you don't like somebody. I want you to talk about why you can love somebody, okay? Because love is the great glue that can make any community great, okay? So let's build everything on love, man. Let's not get into like me explaining to you why you're wrong and Trump is the devil or Biden and Harris are the devil. I don't like those conversations, honestly. So
you don't like those conversations, yet you slick shady threw that shit in there because this is how you feel. So Dr. Boyce Watkins, your framing of this conversation is steeped in intellectual dishonesty. It would be much. It would be taken and received better if you said, you know what, I just don't like these people, and I think they're devil, and I think they're a piece of crap, and I'm gonna talk my talk, and I'm gonna say my truth. Like, that's another thing I'm tired of with Black people. As a Black person, say what you mean and mean what you say. Stop being so scared to live in your truth. Who cares if other Black people don't like your opinion? Other Black people did not like Fred Hampton's opinion. Other Black people did not like Malcolm X's opinion. Other Black people did not like Marcus Garvey's opinion. Hell, Harriet Tubman told you herself, I could have freed so many more if only they knew that they were slaves. Catch. They was telling on a running back to massa. Oh my God, she trying to free us. She trying to set us free. And it's crazy because I see people every day, y'all are really living in the matrix. Y'all really took the red pill. Or the blue pill, or whatever one. Y'all stuck in computer programming. Your mind is not ready to be free. Because being free and actually being a critical thinker and actually looking at situations in totality forces you to be self-reflective. It forces accountability. It forces you not to hide behind the inauguries of bullshit that people pull up to keep you trapped in a box. If you look at the economic trends in the African American community over a century plus, do you know that Black people as a whole's highest benchmark to financial freedom and financial independence has been $100,000 per capita? It's a flat line. Ain't been no growth. Why is that? Is it actually because of systemic racism, or is it because of the mental slavery that most Black people are in, that they don't know how to escape the bonds on them unless they dribbling a basketball, throwing a football, singing, or being an OnlyFans girl? I will wait. Let's continue.
Here's what was interesting about the Charlie Kirk thing, and why I felt compelled to talk about this. It reminded me of capitalism a little bit, because first off, let me ask you this: yes or no? How many of you would agree with me if I was to say that, you know, white men have been engaging with Black people for hundreds of years in a very direct way? Like, there's a familiarity between whites and Blacks in this country. You go back to the slave plantation, you always had the master who would talk to maybe dozens of Black people every day, right? Why? Well, because those were his workers. That was, you know, these were kind of his people. So Black people have always been a wonderful commodity for the benefit of other communities. We've always been that, right? So he had to talk to the nanny about breastfeeding his babies and cooking breakfast. He had to talk to the field hand about making sure that the corn got shucked that morning, and he had to talk to the overseer who made sure he kept all the Negroes in line. He had to go, you know. So this idea that racism can't exist in a room where a white man is reaching out to a Black man and offering him something, that's just a falsehood. Because what I really saw was in this poor guy, he was saying that, you know, this is why Charlie Kirk couldn't be racist. And again, I'm not here to tell you if he was or not. I'm not here to tell you you can make that decision on your own. I don't know what was in the man's heart. I just know he had some pretty strong opinions about certain things. And if I disagree with you, that I don't get offended by disagreement. Remember, I come from academia. We all disagree with each other all the time. Your best friend will tell you that your research paper is garbage, and you then have to defend your point of view. You debate, right? You don't beat each other up. You don't cuss.
Exactly. And this is what we doing. See, now I did see a couple of y'all in the chat say, who listens to this dude anyway? I don't even know who this dude was. But I want you to understand something. It is imperative, always, that you try to absorb as much knowledge and information as you can. Because for me, you guys do what you want to do. Let me end that poll, by the way. 76% of y'all said it was a conversation and not racist, and I do appreciate that. But, you know, for me, there are times when I could be wrong, right? There are times when I could read the whole situation wrong. So I go and I do my research and I do my little investigations to see, is what somebody else is saying right? Is what I am saying defensible? And I never look for defense of my own points by looking for things that are in alignment with what I'm saying. I look for things that are the polar opposite of what I'm saying, just so I can sharpen steel with steel, right? So now, in Dr. Boyce's diatribe, what he did was he likened Charlie Kirk to an overseer. He likened him to a plantation owner. He essentially said the only reason that Charlie Kirk interacts with Black people is because, well, they're his employees and they bring him a benefit. So let's take a moment, shall we? This is Charlie Kirk and B. Pataki. All right, he's a motivational speaker, filmmaker, life coach. Charlie Kirk changed my life. I attended Turning Point USA's Young Black Leadership Summit in October 2018. My God, today, 2018. Oh, damn, that's 8 years ago. Ain't it though? You mean a little white boy that has money that don't need to be bothered with Black people at all if he doesn't like Black people? And FYI, white people with money do not interact with anybody that they don't like. It doesn't matter the color of your skin. It doesn't matter the amount of money in your bank account. If they don't mess with you, they don't mess with you. White people with money do not pretend. But again, a lot of Black people don't know white people with money, so they believe anything that other Black people tell them, to their detriment. I was 14 at the time, but Charlie told me it didn't matter how young I was. I could fight alongside him in this movement. From then on, I attended every Turning Point conference every year from 2018 to 2025. I grew up in this movement. I became the person I am today because of the inspiration from Charlie Kirk and his organization. I will never be the same without him, and this country will never be the same either. He was a husband, a father, a man of God, and a visionary for our nation. Chandler Crump, I'm sorry. And this is a little boy. This is the young man. Young Black man. Oh, there's another one in the background. My God, today. Oh no, he was flanked by the Blacks and he's racist. Oh shit. But he's smiling though. Oh no, not him again. Smiling. Happy. Jesus. That's what racists do. Yeah. Baby, I'll be cooler than the mink. Look at this dumbass. Black people don't know anybody with money because y'all broke. You right, most Black people are broke. That's the problem. The problem is niggas, and niggas have no color on them, want to keep Black people broke. They want to keep the African American communities as the baseline, the bottom bitch, the foundation of America. Oh, Black people. Hello. Hi, Black people. Hi, yo. Hi. Hey. You think that Planned Parenthood initiative was actually started to help you have safe, sexual, intimate encounters? I suggest you do your research on eugenics, and I suggest you do your research on Margaret Stenger. Y'all were meant to breed. From when they bought you here or stole you from the indigenous people that were here and had you participating in chattel slavery to this present day, you are here to breed. You're not here to have the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. According to the old guard, Black people are not even full people. And if another person tells me, well, that was just for votes, it doesn't matter. On paper, on wax, Black people are 3/5 a person. Get into it. We gonna tell the truth, or we gonna keep lying to make ourselves feel better? I'm not here to lie to you to make you feel better. Now, let's look at there, old McDonald. Oh, I do. My God, today. Okay. Anyway, let's listen to this little tidbit from Charlie Kirk. I guess this is where the racism is. Maybe this is where the racism is.
God damn, God bless this man. Somebody had to say it.
So we have spent $30 trillion on the social welfare system since 1965. Black people are poorer, and the single motherhood went from 25% to now 75 to 80%. So the more money we've spent on Black America, the less fathers we have, because Black women divorced Black men and married the government.
God damn, God bless this man. Somebody had to say it.
So we have spent $30 trillion on the social welfare system since 1965. Black people are poorer, and the single motherhood went from 25% to now 75 to 80%. So the more money we've spent on Black America, the less fathers we have, because Black women divorced Black men and married the government.
God damn, God bless this man.
My God, today. So welfare that is allegedly meant to benefit people of color doesn't actually benefit people of color? You mean tell me after $30 trillion, not only has Black wealth not increased over $125,000, we also have increased poverty levels because there's a whole bunch of children that are being created and no fathers in the home to help raise them? And then you have households where a grown man has to take care of his home and himself and his own facility and give a portion of his income to a woman who more likely than not is on social services. And then social services takes that money from the man that is her father's children from her and says that they're giving it back in benefits. My God, today. My God, today. And thank you to everybody that has been sending jewels and stuff like that. I didn't get notifications. Oh, thank you, Yurli. I appreciate. Thank you, Sonia. I appreciate you. I can't go back but so far, but everybody that has been showing support and hitting the like button, thank you very much. Now, to those that are also hopelessly unaware, race is not real. All you white people stuck up in your racist ideologies, yeah, guess what, stupid? Race is not a real thing. All you Black people stuck on race is not a real thing. It's a social construct. And I've been saying this forever. All you that believe in the 23andMe and the DNA test and all this and all that, yeah, newsflash, that is for entertainment purposes only. And they tell you all the time. And yet and still, y'all believe there is such a thing as DNA inherited indigenous to people in Africa. Just like back in the day when they used to say that skull size was different based on your race. And we found out that was a lie. You know, for a whole bunch of human beings that are supposed to be so smart, I am a universal donor. My Black blood can pump through any one of y'all's bodies. And you think that race is real? That's all I can say. How dumb can you be? We have universal donors and universal recipients that can take blood from anybody in the human race. A Black person can give a white man a heart. A white man can give a Black person a brain, livers, kidneys, all type of organs, just going back and forth. But race is based off of scientific principle and genetic genealogy. No, it's not. Y'all better get into anthropology. But you know what? We can't have a show discussing Charlie Kirk without putting in here, you know, his best friend to the end. Okay, first of all, let's talk about it for a moment because, bitch, Candace Owens done curved out. She done crashed out phenomenally, but I ain't even mad at her. Y'all playing in Candace Owens' face. She don't got no fear, okay? The spirit of truth does not live within her. But let's listen to what Candace had to say in regards to the same topics that Charlie Kirk talks about.
The single motherhood rate in the Black community in the 1960s, before Lyndon Baines Johnson started the Great Society Act, was 23%. At that time, that was considered very high. 23% of Black people growing up without a father in the home. The single motherhood rate in the Black community today is 74%. 74% of our children are growing up without a father in the home. It was Barack Obama, who I don't even really have anything for, who told you what happens when you remove a father from the home. You're 9 times more likely to end up in prison. You're 6 times more likely to drop out of high school, and you're 12 times more likely to lead a life of poverty. Why is nobody talking about father absence, and why do we keep being silenced when we actually do? This is what Black conservatism is, by the way. It's really not. It's not that controversial. The single motherhood rate.
It's really not that controversial. So why is it that a bunch of Black people don't want other Black people to really be thinking about their decisions, to really be thinking about the potential for being impoverished? Why do they want to keep pushing this narrative of single mothers, broken homes, deadbeat baby daddies, and everything else? Even Black people do this amongst themselves, right? When they group together in covens and droves, it always results to a DNP conversation. Well, Black women are this, and Black men are this, and these women don't take care of these kids, and these men don't take care of these kids, and none of y'all are taking care of your kids. Because y'all too busy on social media trying to find the next sexual fix. Y'all too busy trying to find somebody to give you a handout instead of a hand up. Y'all too busy following behind people like Dr. Umar Johnson, who done scammed you for 50,000, 1,100 million years and ain't never built no school, but you put all your wealth in Umar Johnson's pocket. See, y'all are out here living foul, and somebody needs a reality check, and Charlie Kirk was that reality check. But let's continue, because I ain't done.
Okay, this is the question about systemic racism. What law that is in practice today actively discriminates against Black people? So the question is, why is it that in every statistic that you could probably rattle off, are Black people doing worse than white people? Fathers are not in the home. There are 3 things you need to do to stay out of poverty in America. Number 1, graduate high school. The second thing, get a job, any job. And the third thing is try to get married before you have children. And so some of what I believe has contributed to the downfall of some of these communities has nothing to do with white people with the neck on Black people. This is the question about systemic racism. What law that is in practice today actively
bans Black people from getting any job? I'll wait. And for anybody that's saying this sounds like generalizations, right? I want you to take a tour through the manosphere. I want you to take a tour through red pill content. I want you to take a tour through women's sphere. There are several hundreds of content creators getting millions of views per day, pushing DNP conversations. Type in Black YouTube. You're not going to see a lot of Black content creators talking finance. You're not going to see a lot of Black content creators talking academia. What you're going to see is Black people talking about the boule, which is a class system within the African-American community. You're going to see Black people talking about reparations. You're going to see Black people trying to determine who is Black enough to get a check from the government if reparations come through, because they holding on to the promise of 40 acres and a mule, when the promise of 40 acres and a mule was issued by a general who did not have authority to give it, number 1. And number 2, it was literally to rope all the people of color off into one area between Georgia and Florida, and let us govern ourselves and let us police ourselves and have those lands. That was the literal promise of 40 acres and a mule. But Black people today are like, oh my God, that means we need reparations. And they promised us 40 acres and a mule. So that means that we need to figure out how much money that is per every person per capita inside the United States of America. And by the way, dick and pussy. All you got to do is look at your TikTok and your Instagram. Look at Reels. What do you see? People talking about some, oh my God, I went on a date and she ordered a tray of oysters, and oh my God, that's ridiculous. Oh my God, I took her on a date and she ordered food for her kid. Oh my God, I went on a date and he tried to get some ass. Like, seriously? Generalizations where? We're talking about the stereotypes, and we're talking about the overarching narrative that is pushed by social media to Black people, especially our Black youth, to indoctrinate them to a legacy of failure. Yes, yes, yes. Hate the legacy of Charlie Kirk. Because he's out here telling your Black ass, you are somebody. And nobody can take knowledge from you. And nobody is taking earning power from you. Stop believing the bullshit hype and the tropes. My husband has even showed content where Black mothers have told their Black ass children that they can't go to work and earn no money while they living in their house so they can continue to get social services. But it's all generalizations and it's bullshit. No, maybe it's time for y'all to take the wool off of your eyes and realize what the fuck is happening around you. Get out your bubble. Grow the fuck up. But now they'll get mad. They'll get mad when a white man says it. They'll be mad as fuck when a white man says it. But I want to know what happens. What's the tea when it's Black people saying the same thing? When it's the Black people saying the same thing, what is it? You know what? Let's take a tour and see.
As Black men, be mindful of that. Sometimes it's unfair, and sometimes we take it out on those we love. But we have a responsibility and a duty to be fathers, not to just make babies, but to be real fathers. And you can't expect any good to come to you if you don't visit any good on your son or your daughter. So be a man. Pain is passed down from father to son and son to son. We have to, as Black men, be mindful of that. Sometimes it's unfair, and sometimes we take it out on those we love. But we have a responsibility and a duty to be fathers.
So Denzel told y'all have a responsibility and a duty to be fathers. Is Denzel a racist? Is he a racist? Because that's literally the same thing that Charlie Kirk just said. The importance of Black fathers in the home. I know plenty Black content creators that talk about the importance of Black fathers in the home every day. So only Black men can say that to other men. White men can't tell that to Black kids that don't have no father, because Black men be like, fuck them kids, and Black women be like, fuck them kids too. So Black kids just supposed to swing in the balance, and nobody is supposed to give them any guidance for a better future. Damn, where's Whitney Houston? I wish she never took that crack. What did Whitney Houston say? I believe the children are our future. Teach them well and let them lead the way. Charlie Kirk literally took it on his own laurels to lead the children, and that's a fucking problem, and that makes him a fucking racist. Are you people sitting? Are you serious? I'm really trying not to curse today, but it's just the stupidity for me. I can't take stupid people. I really cannot take stupid people. But anyway, let's listen to this Black woman talk about the importance of Black fathers in the home. You know she must be racist too, but let's listen.
Number two, in 2024, we actually have more Black fathers in the homes, in their children's lives than we did when we were born, and our generation. Our generation, we didn't have a lot of the Black fathers there because they were pulled apart from the homes due to drug usage, due to drug selling, due to just the shit that they put into our community to try to break up the Black home, because they do know that having the Black household is a powerful household, and they know because of that power, that's why they try to split that shit up. Our generation, and that's why our generation is making it a point for our Black men to be in the home. Number two, in 2020.
Wait, so you mean just what Charlie Kirk said? Ain't no way. So a known racist that knows the Black family is power, because it was actually Black families that funded the civil rights movement in the 40s, 50s, and 60s. It was married couples that actually kept the Atlantic Star going. It was Black families that donated to Dr. King. It was Black families that donated to Malcolm X. It was Black families that push the movements to make sure everybody boycotted the buses. It was Black families and Black communities that came together and segregated when things got a little sticky. It was black families that bandied together and made sure there were survivors when churches were being burnt down and people were being lynched. No, no, no. America does not want to see the power of a black family. And Charlie Kirk is sitting here encouraging black family, but he's a racist. Make it make sense. And I was staying off of social media because, you know what? People are too stupid for me. Too stupid for me. Arguments based in ad hominem instead of looking at the facts of things. The confirmation bias of hearing a soundbite to make you believe something about somebody. And I don't give a fuck if that man was racist or not. But logically, I know the two ideologies don't go together. If black families and black fathers in the family keep black people from poverty and empower black culture, is a racist going to literally encourage that? Probably not. But anyway, let's listen to the next little tidbit.
Fathers. I think we're doing a good job considering, an excellent job considering what we've been through. We were never meant to be men. We were never meant to be fathers because the way in which they raised us, whoever taught black men to be fathers? I think we're doing a good job considering, an excellent job considering what we've been through. We were never meant to be men. We were never meant to be fathers because if we were fathers on the plantation, it meant that our children would listen to us before they listened to the person upstairs.
Great point.
And the moment we had any type of control on the plantation, they sold us or killed us because they had no room for anybody with power. Black people on plantation. So now here we are, 1865, so to speak, and they emancipate us, and now we're supposed to be fathers. Well, who taught us how to be fathers? From cradle to the grave. We're never fathers. We had no example of what a father was. The best that we had was Fiddler. Kunta Kinte had Fiddler. That was the best he had for a father. Now we're just coming up what Bob Marley calls our sleepless slumber. And now we're coming to realize what a father really is and the way in which they raised us. Whoever taught black men.
Damn. If that's not a piece of real work for your ass. Black people were never taught how to have family. Black people were never taught unity. Black people were never taught how to be fathers and how to be mothers because black people were commerce. They were cattle. So it has been a slow ass learning curve of hundreds of years where black people have not been thriving. And then let us not forget, the majority of the time black people were in slavery, they also weren't allowed to read a book. Which means literacy has not been handed down from generation to generation. You literally have to want it. You have to want that shit deep down inside. And then you have to teach that to your progeny. Education. But the white man telling black people, you surely is free. That's the racist. And I don't give a good goddamn who thinks I'm a grifter, who doesn't like how I look, who can't stand my voice, who is mad at this message. Kiss my entire black ass. Somebody needs to say it. Because the ones yelling the loudest, oh, you're grifting, oh my God, this is a bullshit. Those are the ones that seek to kill and destroy black people. They don't want you to do no better. They want you to stay at the bottom of the barrel. They don't want you to understand that, nah, you have complete control over your body, over your vagina, over your penis. You are more than a sexual entity. You are more than a fetish, and stop being used as one. God forbid you focus on finances and politics and policies and money. Focus on this DMP conversation. Focus on getting your nails done. Focus on twerking. Focus on who's being sued by Cardi B and who's Cardi being sued. Focus on Diddy and who he's graping. Focus on all the bullshit. Focus on celebrity gossip and news, because don't get into no real shit. You know, the only way to get better in a game of chess is to play a smarter opponent. Black people, who is your smarter opponent that you're playing with?
Cooler than the mink weather. Make a Coke bottle, give me brain till I think.
That's all I want to know.
Back up on my shit again, hanging out with Benjamin. Franklin got me.
That's all I want to know. It's like the toddler arena at daycare. They threw black people in a little pink and blue room with spongy floors, while everybody else is playing on the concrete and the grass. Thank you, Heaven Bound. I appreciate you. Thank you to everybody giving gifts to as well. And all y'all in this chat cutting up. Y'all cutting up. Anyway, let's continue. Thank you very much, Cortez. I appreciate you. Anyway, let's get to this. We got one more after this, and then we're going to wrap it up. I'm not going to hold you all night. Please hold.
But I look at all their friends when they grew up, especially my son's friend, right? One of his friends is a doctor. Another one got 100 years in the joint, right? Another one got a couple kids. Another one done some carjackings. But when I look at the overall, what's the difference? Pops was in the house. Black men need that shit, right? And a lot of, especially young black kids or young mixed kids. My kids are mixed. You know, my wife, white, everybody know it. Some of my son's friends, a lot of his friends are mixed, white, Mexican, whatever. With a lack of a black man leading, and these kids are destined for failure, because it doesn't matter if your mama white, your mama Mexican, Chinese, whatever. At the end of the day, when you get pulled over, them light starts, you black. But I look at all their friends when they grew up, especially my son's friend, right?
No, brother, man. You not black when the lights start blinking. Apparently, you have to have a tattoo and a label and an air tag and a horn, and you got to run around talk about some. Wait. You got to run around like, say it loud. I'm black and I'm proud. You know what I'm saying? You got to run around doing all of that. No, it's not the fact that you're black and your skin is black. No, that's not it at all. So what is the real reason people are mad at people like Candace Owens, Brandon Tatum, Charlie Kirk, besmirching his name? Can't even let the man get into the grave. I'm mad that they put the flags at half-mast. Black people should be celebrating Charlie Kirk's life. Black people should be taking the time, if they never heard of Charlie Kirk, to actually go and get into his ideology. Get into the legacy that he's leaving behind. Hell, all of his videos are still on Rumble. Go watch them. Make an independent assessment with context. And then if you still don't like him, well, cool, fuck it. But at least you did your own thinking instead of letting other people think for you. Anyway, let's get on to our last piece of business, and then we're getting up out of here. Check it out.
Be honest, guys. Does he have a point?
Black males who grew up without a father are 10 times more likely to engage in criminal activity.
What is the root cause of there being less fathers present?
Bad decision making on the part of the fathers. We live in a patriarchal system, like it or not. Men have dominated the socioeconomic, economic, and political power of this country and the world since our existence. So our bad decision making, especially when we focus on the black community, is the root cause of fatherlessness.
What type of decision?
Not marrying the women we decide to lay down and have children with. Not being careful with the seeds that we plant in women. No woman can get pregnant without a man planting his seed inside of her. So therefore,
it's marriage.
Well, that's a part of it. But the true piece that I'm looking at is connectedness between familial units. The black community was at its economic strongest while being at its poorest during the segregation era. Prior to 1968, Dr. Martin Luther King in his last speech said that we have an annual income of more than $30 billion a year. That was when we were economically at our poorest. Yet 85% of our black children were growing up with a father in the home. There was less black on black crime. There was less disenfranchisement.
Be honest, guys.
That whole part. So a man pushing an agenda for family first will never be a racist to me. A man pushing an agenda for black people to improve their lot in life by doing better will never be a racist to me. But again, Y'all listen to sound clips if you want to. Be a brainless, mindless NPC player in life if you want to. If you choose to, it's your choice. I'm here today speaking about what I want to speak about. That's my choice too. I didn't request for you to be here, and I damn sure didn't request for you to stay. But to those of you that have subscribed, I appreciate you. For those of you that have sent gifts, sent super chats, supported the show, and hit the like button, I definitely appreciate y'all. Stay around. We have more to come. But I will say this. Yes, rest in power. Yes, we do. We do. Every race needs, yes, high name. Every race needs to take accountability for their damn self. And I need black people to stop being so damn gullible. Stop being so gullible. And I'm going to say this last part, because I'm going to be super serious, because it needs to be said. Let me move this damn alert. It's all over my face. Why you didn't tell me the alert was all over my face? Y'all should have told me the alert was over my face. Hold on a minute. Let me move that back. I moved one thing and I did not move the other. That's on me. That's on me. I got it. Thank you. Fixed it. Okay. So, African American community. Hi. My name is Mind Chaos Brew. Let me enlighten you on a little bit. Black people are not still supposed to be here in the United States of America. We are balanced to an equation that has not actually been completely solved. They didn't bring us over here as friends, nor equals, nor peers. They brought us over here as servants, as the help. They took advantage of us because we didn't know their language. See, white people were slaves over here too, but they were indentured servants. They had contracts, limited time of servants, and then they were equal. Black people, Native American people, no, we have always been at the hands of others. And even now, years and years and years and centuries and generations later, where the playing fields are even to a degree. Yeah, there's a lot of shitty shit that has happened to Black people, people of color, and minorities in this land. This is true. But we do have the ability to overcome and rise up. Asian people have come over here and made a mark in this land. When Asian people are outpacing you in the Bureau of Labor and Statistics, there's a problem. Hispanic people have immigrated over here from Mexico. And I grew up in an area where there was no Spanish-speaking people, right? Within 10 years, I saw Spanish people with their own grocery stores, their own neighborhoods, their own businesses, and taking over. Now, all the hustle, the sparkle, the creativity, the strength, the power, and the fortitude that the African American community has, you mean to tell me in 2025 we still at the back of the fucking bus? Yeah, nah. It's a choice. It's a choice. Because the hustle not in you. And I have heard Black people say, a large amount of Black people, well, we were slaves, so we did our work in America. No, you didn't. Your work is not done until you're dead. Get up and go to work. Get up and hustle hard. I don't give a damn if you're just doing your own business. Go work on that hard. I know good and hell well y'all ain't sit on nobody's social services for generations. And ain't nobody built no side hustle. Now y'all selling food stamps, buying Lucy's at the bodega, using your food stamps to get a chopped cheese and shit instead of buying your kids fruits and vegetables. So I know good and hell well y'all could figure out how to do better than this. You got people on social services wearing Balenciaga. Louboutins, getting flued out and shit, pulling up to the hood and motherfucking rented Lexuses, renting rims and shit. It's called sacrifice, concentration, and a purpose-driven life. Stop smoking so much weed. What the fuck are y'all celebrating? Poverty? Stop drinking so much. What are you celebrating? Or are you just trying to die? And that's what that DEI is. That's why I always say it, DIE. It's just another way for people to die. Waiting for a golden ticket like Charlie in the Chocolate Factory. Yeah? No. Not me. Not today. Not tomorrow. Not ever. Then why the fuck are you here? Get out. Again, people better understand, I'm not a lot of content creators on YouTube. I don't give a fuck about your opinion because I don't give a fuck if you like what I say or not. Like how I said it, I'm going to say it again. Shay, keep your bitch ass the fuck off my platform. Don't you ever come around here no more, bitch. And don't put no troll pages and come back either. Because the grift is real. So you're not trying to get this knowledge. You're not trying to hear this truth. Stay the fuck from around me. All skin folk is not kinfolk. There was tribes in Africa that sold your black ass into slavery. There were Native American Indians that sold their people into slavery too. Just because you look like me, bitch, we are not the same. And my family ain't never picked no cotton. Get into it. That being said, everybody, have a good night. And I will see you when I see you. Rest in power to Charlie Kirk. Shout out to Candace Owens and Brandon Tatum for keeping the vision going. Candace Owens, please, sister, we need you to be around. Please just, I know you're mad and I know you're hurting right now, but please just think about it before you come to social media because your last live was crazy. I might have to review that one. I don't know. Anyway, y'all, bye.
Through the shadows we will walk, hand in hand we'll face the dark. Flutes will whisper through a night, guiding us with gentle light. Saxophones will lift the prayer, echoing in the silent air. Violins will hum the grace as we seek our resting place. We shall ride, we shall stand, held together by His hand. Through the storm, through the pain, love will heal us once again. Mountains high, valleys low, still His mercy overflows. Choirs sing the anthem sweet, lifting souls from defeat. Morning breaks with golden rays, hope restored in endless ways. Every step, every mile, marked by faith, not by trial. Though the road is long and steep, promises He vows to shine.